You know the feeling, right? The meeting that absolutely could have been an email. The one that just never ends. Or maybe the one where you're sitting there the whole time thinking, why am I even here? Meetings can feel like the biggest black hole for our time at work. But, they don't have to be. Today, we're going to break down the blueprint for turning those dreaded calendar blocks into focused, valuable, and yes, I'm serious, actually productive sessions. So here's our game plan. First up, we're going to look at some pretty shocking data on why so many meetings just fall flat. Then we'll get practical and walk through 5 concrete steps to fix them, figuring out the purpose, picking the right people, creating a killer agenda, leading with real intention, and then finally nailing the follow-up. Let's start with the problem. All right, so let's be honest. Why do so many meetings feel like a complete waste of time? It turns out it's not just a feeling you have. The data is in, and, well, the numbers are probably even worse than you think. Just let that number sink in for a second. 35%. Research shows that more than a third of all the time we spend in meetings is totally, completely unproductive. I mean, that's just a staggering amount of wasted brain power, focus, and frankly, money. And if you're wondering what that 35% looks like in real life, here you go. For a typical executive, it adds up to 8 hours a week. That is an entire workday, every single week, just vaporized by bad meetings. And here is the real kicker. We all kind of know this is a problem, but we don't think we're the problem. It's called the better than average effect. Check this out. Almost 80% of us think the meetings we run are great, super productive. But when you ask about meetings run by other people, whoa, that number drops like a rock. We're all pointing fingers, which means we have a huge blind spot. And that is exactly why we need a system. Okay, so that brings us to the first step in the fix, and honestly, it's the most important one of all. You have to define the purpose. The question is dead simple. If you can't clearly say why you're meeting, should you be meeting at all? The answer is probably no. You have to remember, a meeting is an incredibly expensive tool. It doesn't just cost your time, it costs the time of every single person in that room. And this quote from the Harvard Business Review says it all. If you don't have a clear mission, the most productive move you can make is to just hit cancel. So, what are the good reasons to meet? Well, it usually boils down to one of these 5 things. You meet to build team spirit, to get everyone on the same page, to coordinate who's doing what, to deliver tricky information that needs a real conversation, or to brainstorm new plans. If your reason for meeting doesn't fit in one of these buckets, you really need to ask yourself, could this just be an email? Okay, you've got your why. The next question is who. Who actually needs to be there? And listen, this isn't about being exclusive or rude, it's about being effective. And to help you with this, I want you to remember one simple but really powerful little heuristic, the rule of 7. And here's why that rule is so important. The research is pretty clear on this. Once you get more than 7 people in a meeting, every extra person you add reduces the group's ability to make a good decision by 10%. By the time you get to 16 or 17 people, your decision-making effectiveness basically drops off a cliff to 0. The takeaway here is obvious. Keep it small, keep it focused. Now, to make that small group of yours even more effective, give people jobs. It sounds simple, but it works. Having a clear meeting leader, a social leader who makes sure everyone speaks up, a timekeeper, a record keeper, and yeah, even a techie to handle the Zoom stuff. It gives everyone a sense of responsibility and keeps things running smoothly. Here's a fascinating, kind of counterintuitive insight from the organizational psychologist Adam Grant. We all think that assigning a devil's advocate is a smart move, right? To challenge ideas? Well, it turns out it doesn't really work. People know that person is just playing a role. What's way better is to find someone who genuinely disagrees and give them the space to speak. Because even if they're wrong, that real dissent makes everyone think harder and leads to much stronger decisions. So, you've got your purpose, you've got your people. Now you need the actual roadmap for the conversation. And that is the agenda. Don't underestimate this. It is your single most important tool for a productive meeting, period. A great agenda is way more than just a list of topics. It gives people enough details so they can actually come prepared. It lists start times for each item, not just how long it'll take. It assigns pre-work so you're not wasting precious time bringing people up to speed. And it always starts with following up on old action items. Most importantly, it gets sent out early. No one should be seeing the agenda for the first time when they walk into the room. And here is a pro tip. Please, just do this one thing.
Strike any other business from your agendas forever. It's just an open invitation to waste time and derail the whole conversation. If something is important enough to talk about, it deserves its own spot on the agenda.
All right, we've done all the prep. Now we're live. The meeting is happening. A plan is great, but now you have to execute. Step 4 is all about leading with intention, actively steering the ship while it's moving. If you're the one leading the meeting, here's your in-game checklist. It's 5 simple things. 1. Kick things off by reminding everyone why you're there. 2. Start on time. Don't wait for latecomers, just start. 3. Push every topic to a clear decision. 4. Assign action items with a specific person and a specific deadline. And 5. End on time. Respect people's schedules. I want to zero in on that action item point for just a second because this is so important. Every single action item has to be assigned to a single owner. The minute you assign a task to a group, you create confusion. Team A will handle it often means no one handles it. It's simple. One task, one owner. Every single time. And that brings us to our final step, and it's the one that almost everybody forgets. The work is not done when the Zoom call ends. You have to document the outcome. Otherwise, all that great conversation and all those decisions just evaporate. So it is definitely time to rethink what we mean by meeting minutes. Let's be real. Nobody has the time or the desire to read a full transcript of everything that was said. The modern approach is lean, it's practical, and it's 100% focused on action. Here's the new formula for meeting minutes. It's so simple. You record 2 things, and only 2 things. First, what decisions did we make? And second, what action items were assigned? And for those, you list who owns it and when it's due. That's it. Send that simple summary out within 24 hours, and it'll keep the momentum going. And that's our blueprint. Purpose, people, agenda, leadership, and follow-up. Look, I know it can feel like a lot, but just remember this. The single most unproductive meeting in the world is the one you do nothing to improve. So don't try to boil the ocean. Just pick one of these things for your next meeting. Start there.